All right, trig identities, y'all's favorite topic. Y'all loved this unit. It's not true. Some of you did. Some of you enjoyed it. Some of you hated me. With trig identities, I gave you these. These are the most important. If you have your packet, then you have this. If not, take a picture of this, screenshot this, whatever you need to do. You need these three different kind of identities. For Pythagorean, remember, you can write this different ways. Like this sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. You can write as 1 minus sine squared equals cosine squared, or 1 minus cosine squared equals sine squared. And I'm going to finish this out for your packet. What we did in class, we would try to use Pythagorean identities first. That was just kind of the way that we tackled these. If we couldn't use that, then we went to our reciprocal and our quotient identities to get everything in terms of sine and cosine. So I'm going to stay with that trend. For number 1, I don't have any squares here. I don't have any ones. There's no way to use Pythagorean identities. So I'm going to get everything in terms of sine and cosine. So this is already in terms of cosine. I'm going to leave that alone. Cosecant, I know, is 1 over sine. So I'm going to write this as 1 over sine, and it's being multiplied. And cotangent is cosine over sine. So if I simplify the top, remember this is the same thing as cosine over 1. So I end up with cosine over sine, and on the bottom I have cosine over sine. Anything divided by itself is 1. And what I asked you to do here is get everything in terms of a single trig identity or a constant, and that's a constant, so we're done. On the next one, cotangent and sine, there's no Pythagorean identities I can use, so I'm going to go to cotangent and write this as cosine over sine. Sine is already in terms of sine or cosine, so I'm going to leave that. Basically, I can write it over 1. These cancel out, and I'm left with cosine theta. That's a single trig identity, so I'm done. For number 3, I have 1 minus sine squared. This, I can use Pythagorean, so that's what I'm going to go to, and I actually kind of wrote this one out for you. 1 minus sine squared is cosine squared. So I'm going to rewrite the top as cosine squared. The bottom is sine squared. Well, I know that cosine over sine is cotangent, so it should make sense that cosine over sine times cosine over sine is going to be cotangent times cotangent, or cotangent squared. Now I'm going kind of fast. If y'all have questions, y'all remember I've got the Zoom or the, I left my phone number on the packet as well. But my battery's about to die, so. Sine is already written in terms of sine. Secant, if you look up here, is 1 over cosine. So I'm going to write this as 1 over cosine. So this is it's going to be written over 1. So what I've got here is sine over cosine, which is tangent. All right, number 5, this is already cosine. Cosecant is 1 over sine. I was just backwards of what we just did. So this gives me cosine over sine, which is cotangent. And then here, I can't use Pythagorean here, so I'm going to do everything in terms of sine and cosine. So this is sine. It's already in terms, so I'm not changing it. Secant can be written as 1 over cosine, so I'm going to change that. And tangent is sine over cosine. So this one's really similar to number 1. Sine times 1 over cosine is sine over cosine. This is still sine over cosine. Anything divided by itself is 1. Okay, good luck. Remember to reach out to me if you have any problems or any questions over this.